Just want to give you an update as it relates to today's incident that occurred in our range station area. We've got 2 officers that have been injured, and I'm pretty sure you're aware of that. Also, a citizen was also injured in the activity that was going on. We have been working to suppress auto thefts in the city. You know, that's a challenge that the department, and not just the department, but the nation has had as it relates to carjackings and serious, egregious types of auto thefts. So our auto theft task force was out today and identified 2 stolen vehicles, ran the tags on those vehicles, and realized that they were stolen. One of the vehicles, one of the individuals, or it may have been several individuals, fired upon one of our officers' vehicles as he was leaving the area. Those individuals also chased the officer's vehicle as well, and as a result, there was a crash that took place between one of our officers that was as a part of the pursuit. There was a crash that took place as well with a citizen. So we have a citizen that has been injured as well. Don't know the condition of that citizen. Saw that person coming in. They were still alert at the time, but we are very concerned also about any citizen that gets injured as a result of the work that we have to do. At this time, our officers are in stable condition. Don't know the condition of the citizen just yet. I'll be going back into the hospital to check on that individual as well. Right now, we have some individuals of interest that have been detained, but we can't say right now whether or not those are the actual individuals that are part of this incident, and those individuals will be charged. But we will be able to provide an update on that as well.
The officer that was shot, was that officer brought here in a private vehicle, in a police vehicle, and also were those individuals detained and okay?
Yes, the officer was actually brought here in a police vehicle to hurry and get him to some medical care as soon as possible. So he was transported, and also the individual officer that was hurt in the crash was also transported in a police vehicle to get them to medical care as well. An ambulance was on scene to take care of the citizen that was involved in that crash and provided medical care for that individual and got them here to the hospital as well.
Yeah, you mentioned a number of suspects detained. Can you tell us that number?
Right now we have 3 individuals that are detained.
Were they detained and okay then?
They are detained in that range station area, and I believe it's in very close proximity to where the incident occurred.
Did you request up to speed about that silver Infiniti? Have you located it? What do we know about that?
Right now, the individuals that are detained, they were driving a vehicle that fit that description as well. I don't have details. Our officers are still out on the scene right now, and we should be able to clarify, verify as well that is the vehicle that was actually involved in this incident.
Did you request information on the citizen that was injured before coming out here?
We absolutely did. Initially, we didn't know who all was involved. We had 3 different scenes that we were working. So as information was coming in, we were trying to determine where our suspects were, what the condition was of the officers and anybody else that was involved in the incident. So as we were made aware that we had another individual that was involved in the car crash, we were very concerned about that person as well.
And you mentioned that silver Infiniti was stolen. Are there any other stolen vehicles at this time that you guys were looking into?
Initial reports that there were 2 stolen vehicles that the officers had sort of stumbled upon as they were checking, vehicle tags in this particular area.
Have you found the suspect vehicle?
Excuse me?
Have you found the suspect vehicle?
As of right now, we don't know for sure whether or not the vehicle that we stopped, the Infiniti, was the exact vehicle that these officers had stopped when this incident, took off.
And you said he was just running tags, and that's what they ran across. It was
part of this whole operation was to identify locations where stolen vehicles have been left, and we have several locations in the city that have been used to drop off stolen vehicles. Also information from citizens and other individuals to lead us to believe that there were stolen vehicles and individuals operating and committing auto thefts in that particular area.
Are both
Yeah.
officers' families inside the hospital?
So what we'll do is we'll update y'all as
Thank
more
you all.
additional information becomes available.
But you have nobody to see at the moment.
So she just explained, which we have.
Okay, right now.